hope you all had a nice lunch. The next thing we're going to do is go over the new 704 form orders. This was an exercise in updating existing form orders and drafting new ones to both fill existing gaps and to update the current orders with changes in the law. The last time the 704 form orders were updated was 2015, so it was time. Also, I just want to say that the Third Circuit in the Big Island is in the forefront of these form orders, mental health form orders. We were the first circuit to do the orders. And our orders were adopted by Kauai. So their current orders are based on our 2015 orders. So maybe they'll update theirs now too, who knows? And they're also on the judiciary website with all of the court forms. They're in PDF fillable format for the island-wide. So anybody can access them, and they're all standardized. So you can hit the lights now. So you all got a copy of the table of contents of the new orders. Does anybody not have a copy of the table of contents? Raise your hand. Nope. Nope. Yep. So we did a couple of things on the table of contents, and one is any order that's brand new, we highlighted in bold. The orders that are not highlighted were existing orders. We also renumbered them, and we noted in parentheses what the former form order number was, just for reference. And generally, we did some updating on all of the orders. We updated the distribution list. We changed some formatting things, etc. For all of the orders suspending and ordering an examination, we added a signature line for information regarding how to contact the defendant on the last page. We also deleted the provision that said one psychologist and one psychiatrist, because that was a change in the law. We added, we need to note who requested which doctor, prosecutor, defense counsel, so we added that. So those were all just some general changes. You can start the first form order we added was MH 1.3, which is an order for examination of the defendant as to penal responsibility only. This was necessary because we didn't have one. And we are doing more separation of fitness and penal responsibility. So this comes into play in two times. One is if you've already done fitness and you still need a penal responsibility examination, and the other situation is where you're just doing an examination as to penal responsibility when fitness is not at issue, but penal responsibility is. And just a side note, penal responsibility do not suspend. The next order we added is MH 1.4. And that's our 704-421 Act 26 motion for examination for nonviolent petty misdemeanors. That was pursuant to a change in the law. The next order is MH 1.5, order granting motion for neuropsychological evaluation of defendant. This comes into play when individuals have more sort of neuropsychological issues, traumatic brain injury, developmental delay, and we need an evaluation. It's a more thorough evaluation, and it comes into play a couple times. One is if there's a 3-panel or 1-panel and doctors say, hey, we could really benefit by a neuropsychological evaluation, and we'll file this order. Another one is if you just need more information for the panel exams to utilize when they're doing their analysis. But this is allowed under the statute, additional types of evaluations. The next order we added is MH 2.10, order of dismissal and release of committed defendant unlikely to regain fitness. Those are people who have been found unfit and determined to be a danger, and they've been committed to Hawaii State Hospital. And then we've done a subsequent panel evaluation, determining that this individual is unlikely to regain fitness. This is the order that dismisses them and releases them. We also needed one for individuals who have been released on conditions, who also are unlikely to regain fitness. The next order is MH 2.12, and this is the form order that disposes of the Act 26 704 421 cases. The next order is the order we spoke about this morning, when you've had an evaluation, you've acquitted the defendant, but you need an opinion as to dangerousness. And so we talked about this morning about continuing for 30 days or so to get an opinion as to dangerousness to determine whether or not they would be released from Hawaii State Hospital on conditional release. The next order we added was MH 4.7. Order reinstating release on conditions and granting the withdrawal of the state's motion to revoke release on conditions. We felt that an order was necessary because once a motion has been filed, you need a court order to withdraw it. And so this is the form order that does that. And this would be in a situation where the individual might be temporarily hospitalized or stabilized and no longer needs to be revoked. The next order we added was MH 5.7, order discharging defendant from conditional release after expiration of 1-year period. This was a change in the law a few years ago that established that all non-felony charges, petty misdemeanors and misdemeanors, individuals placed on conditional release, the conditional release expires after 1-year period. It's important to note that individuals who are on conditional release, the courts need to set a return hearing date at the 1-year period so the case can get dismissed. Lastly, we added the 704 bench warrants, and we didn't have these before, at least not in our form orders. So we added the 704 bench warrants so there can be no confusion as to what they are or what they should contain or what they should look like. And we have 2 warrants, one for non-compliance with release on conditions and one for non-compliance with conditional release. And all of these orders are available on the judiciary website, as I said, and they're also going to be available. We put together a 704 mental health handbook. The handbook contains the policies and procedures, which are new narratives that we've written to comport with, yes, and that's in your handouts. Yeah, and that's a narrative that we have tried to capture current law and practice. And it gives instructions for how to proceed. We've tried to make it very clear and concise. So you have a roadmap now in between your flowcharts and your table of contents and your policies and procedures that you should know what to do and when to do it and how to do. And the policy handbook is going to be available on the West Hawaii Bar, westhawaiibar.com. That's the West Hawaii Bar website. And there will be a link to the handbook. And the other thing is, this has been a lot of work. It's taken a lot of time and effort of a lot of people. And it's a work in progress. So we've already identified areas that need updating. There may be other areas that we need to draft new form orders. And we would appreciate your feedback and your input. So we've posted in your materials and on the board is the email account for the Chapter 704 Hui at gmail.com. And that's where you go to send us input and feedback. Because we're hoping to do this on an annual basis. Update, improve, and so it's an organic process. And we look forward to hearing from all of you and getting your input. And we're collecting some information even at this training, because people are coming forward with ideas and things that are missing. Any questions? Negative response.